Good evening. My name is Phoenix, and I will be your conference operator today. At this time, I would like to welcome everyone to the HRLP webinar. All lines have been placed on mute to prevent any background noise. If you should need assistance during the call, please press *0 and an operator will come on to assist you. Thank you. I would now like to turn the call over to Vicki Lau. You may begin your conference.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Phoenix. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar. Good afternoon and good evening. Thanks so much for joining us today. My name is Vicki Liao, and I am the Global Program Manager for the GE's HRLP program. I'm really excited to be able to spend the next 90 minutes with you. About 10 years ago, I was where you are today. I was about to complete my graduate studies and looking to launch the next chapter of my career journeys. Interestingly, I was doing my MBA in California at that time, so there wasn't really as much information available about GE HRLP. I reached out to my campus career advisors. He unfortunately didn't have much exposure neither on this particular area, but his first reaction I still remember today. He said, wow, they must really care about the function of HR to really run a program like this. I would definitely say you should go out and find out more. Little do I know that I managed to convince GE during the 10 years down the road, I had the great opportunity to manage the program for the company. So I guess what I really trying to say here is that I had a true appreciation of how critical this decision is for you, and we are glad to play a role in your exploration process, if you may. So before I move forward, a few logistics. First of all, the WebEx. I hope you are all being able to join the WebEx link that we sent through earlier, and where you will be able to see a bright, orange screen says "Welcome to GE Human Resources Leadership Program." And at this point, if I can in fact have someone on the leader call to confirm that you can in fact hear me, and you will be able to see the page, that would be great.
Yep, we can.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. And as Phoenix mentioned, your lines are on mute. To really secure the quality of the recording, we will make the recording available online for those who might not be able to get a chance to join us tonight. We therefore will not be able to take live questions. But thank you so much for taking the time to submit some fantastic questions during your registrations. We will go ahead to answer those questions during our presentations. And at the end of the call, we'll also be able to cover some of those frequently asked questions as well. And I hope that will, really serve the purpose of providing you the necessary information for you to get started. Our goal today is really provide you with a closer look into GE's HRLP and our global business in the context of HR. In terms of agenda and what to expect for the next 90 minutes, I will start with an overview of the program. And I'll pass it on to some of my great colleagues and some of our senior HR leaders of this company who join us tonight to share more about our individual business within GE. Some of those, recent key highlights, the type of HR opportunities within the business, and some of the typical HRLP rotations and locations, and so on and so forth. Also, as last year's feedback suggests us that you might be interested to hear from the current on-program HRLPs and their perspective, their story. So this go around, we invited 2 HRLPs join us tonight. We'll be able to hear a little more from them as well. So with this, I'll get started. And really before I jump in to talk about the program statistics, I think it's super timely and relevant to touch on some of the recent transformational change of our company. Around our, you probably read about it, around our portfolio shift, our globalization, as we are, reinventing the next industrial era. Our digital transformations that brings together the mind and machines in ways no other company can, and our cultural transformations around simplification to drive customer outcomes and speed. Those transformational change provide incredible context for our program. And the reason I say that really is GE's HRLP has been running for over 60 years, and it's the first of its kind. Just as my career advisor noted, it speaks to the commitment to the function of HR and to the program. To keep the program relevant and impactful, you can well imagine that we need to continue to evolve. In the recent years, the focus has been around globalization, and now most recently adding on to the culture of simplification and our digital transformation. We are really here to develop HR leaders who can shape our culture that will shape our future. About 60% of our HR leadership team graduate from HRLP, and I think that speaks to the success of the program. We currently have about 90 members on program, and since it's a global program, they come from about 25 different countries. Our HRLP always tells us the strength of the building network that you will have joining HRLPs. Moving on to the next slide, and this is where we ask our HRLP to help us visualize the program structure, and this is what they put together. A few highlights here. It's a 2-year rotational program, so we go with a month rotation for 3, and it's really the core of the program. It's very important for us to be able to provide you 3 distinct HR challenges. The idea here is that we put talented people into stretch assignments that really accelerate the development and growth of individuals. And there is the second highlight, importantly, is about the Global Learning Seminar. Every 6 months, we invite our global cohort of HRLP together for 1 week of learning intervention. We introduce learning experiences to really activate your leaderships, build your HR domain capability. We incubate network and connections throughout the organization. And not only about the what and the who, we are also very thoughtful about where. You can see these nice pictures from Malaysia and Turkey here. And we also recently went to Canada and Brazil. The idea here is really to build our future HR leaders the awareness of our global markets and the curiosities about the culture. That's where we bring our HRLP to global places. And I unfortunately miss losing you guys a little bit on the WebEx, which I will try to come back. You guys being able to see me again?
Yes, we can.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful. So for the folks that's joining us on WebEx, please try and refrain from taking the ball from my hand. I wouldn't be able to continue to show you the page, and that will help us to move along. So I was talking about Canada and Brazil, and the idea is really taking our HRLP to global places where tied to our strategic growth initiative. The last piece to highlight here is about personalized developmental approach. I mentioned earlier that we have about 90 HRLPs on program at any given time. And let me put the number in the context a little bit. We have about 4,000 employees in the function of HR at GE. The scale and the diversity of career opportunities really enable us to practice a more personalized coaching and developmental approach. And that has proven to be very impactful for the success of the program. At this page, I would like to talk about our differentiator, if you may, and really it's a program attributes that we are most proud of. First and foremost, the culture of the company. And really it's the function of the HR at GE that differentiates us. You've probably read about GE on your case studies about our leaderships, our talent development. HR at GE has a seat at the table. We talk about that. For that, be the business partner, the employee advocate, the cultural champions, or the organization coach. You get to work on things that matter from day one, and that has always been the commitment we have for the function and for the program. The second piece is around the HRLP experiences guideline. And this is the science behind the personalized developmental approach that we talked about earlier. It was launched about 2 years ago with a few iterations along the way to really try and answer the question of what type of competency we want to develop in HRLPs and what type of experiences that can help to achieve those developmental objectives. The third piece is global. And the global nature of our program is something that's very near and dear to my heart. If you haven't noticed already from my accent, I came from outside of U.S. I came from Taiwan originally. During my GE experiences, I get to work and live in 5 different countries, go to places that I've never imagined possible. And I think more importantly, really to learn from and connect with brilliant people globally. The idea here is that we need global leaders for this global company. And we really lean in on our developmental approach around building global effectiveness for sure. Last but not least is the support network. The network of support is probably our secret sauce that we happily, announce publicly. We have a leadership team that really cares about the program. Many of them have gone through it themselves. They understand how it works. We have a philosophy as in leader, develop leaders. And it's important to our leadership that HRLP succeed. And we would always like to use the example of this particular webinar, how many of our senior HR leaders volunteer their time to join efforts on our HRLP recruiting journey today. So with that, I want to move on and talk a little bit about the sponsorship structures in the program. When you join the program for the first couple of years in the company, you will be attached to a sponsoring business. The theory of the case here is the business acumen is extremely critical to our HR to gain the industry and operation insight in order to partner with the business and leader and employee, being able to translate the business strategy into HR strategies. The sponsorship model provides the context, the network, and really a group of senior HR leaders who care about you, your development, and being able to provide the coaching that's needed and really follow through your first couple of years as you launch your career with us. So when you are invited for your second and final rounds of interview, you will be asked to declare your preference of business unit. Naturally, we hope this presentation gives you a baseline knowledge as you start your research. I do, however, want to add, on top of the business sponsorship structure, there are plenty of project opportunity, leadership exposure to learn about the big GEs and OR business during HRLP and beyond. I'll take myself as an example. I worked through GE Capital, Transportations, and Corporate in the past 9 years. And it won't take you long to notice that I'm not unique in this particular regard. And so I think that's important to know. Now I'll shift the gear a little bit and talk about who we want. So it's an experiences program, so we do ask for 2 years of experiences. A frequently asked question is whether it has to be HR. Not necessarily. If not for HR, we will be looking for the learning agility for you, your ability to translate your previous experiences into HR. We are definitely looking for your passion and commitment to the profession, of course. And I also want to highlight one more piece of requirement around mobility. Again, we talk about stretch assignment and development. The most meaningful assignments may or may not always be in the same location for you. As we are committed to your growth and development, we do expect the same level of commitment from you to make it work. And to make sure you get the work that's most meaningful assignment for you, it could mean that you have to move within U.S. and sometimes internationally. So during the program, we do ask for your full commitment to be geographically mobile. We'll elaborate a little more about the possible location during the business presentations later on to provide some expectations in, what are the possible locations. On the left-hand side, on the other hand, I want to talk about, what defines GE leaders in today's environment that we aspire. Leadership really is someone, first of all, who can learn, who is very curious and can adapt their approach based on, what they learn throughout their life. They are someone who can connect with people in a very authentic way, who can develop relationships. And finally, it's someone who is passionate about winning, is willing to take risks and adapt in order to win. And not just only to win for themselves, but really for the team. Those are the foundational leadership traits that we are looking for from a candidate. And this is not just for HR or for HRLP. This is what we expect from everyone in the company, and this is what success will look like. Definitely something for you to think about as you consider to join us. And moving on to the next page, and I have 2 more pages to go before I hand it over to the business presentations. This is around the HRLP internships. This is a very important pipeline for our full-time HRLP recruiting efforts. Something we're very, very proud of is we craft our real job within the reasonable time frame of 10 to 12 weeks to make sure our interns work on things that's real and that's impactful. We are passionate about providing true flavor of HRLP program for our intern. So in addition to the seminar, we work hard to build network among HRLP interns. We invite interns for a mini seminar at the end of the summer. And this is the last piece before I hand it over to the business champion. I want to cover the recruiting timeline and the next steps, and I think this is an important piece too. So today, September 17th, is the webinar where we want to provide you with some direct access and the detailed information. The next steps really is our first rounds of interview, either on campus or virtually. So you should follow your campus schedule if we are going onto your campus and look out for GE HRLP. And if we don't recruit on your campus, please submit your application online. In the spirit of speed, we have a pretty tight turnaround. The application is due on September 20th. The successful candidate after the first round of interview will be invited to the second and final round of interview to our HRLP recruiting forum on October 15th to 16th. So mark your calendar there. We target to extend the offer after the forum around the end of October. We are hiring for both full-time and intern for the HRLP program. But with a very successful summer internship just wrapping up right now, we have fewer full-time slots available this go-around. So with this, I would like to hand it over to our business program manager, our senior HR managers in the company, to talk about individual business within GE, hopefully to give you a broader understanding of the scale and the massive global impact of our company. And I'll go to GE Power and Water first. So if I can hand it over to you, Mary.
Great, Vicki, thank you so much. Hi, everyone. My name is Mary Julian, and I'm the Organizational Talent Development Leader for the Power and Water business. I also am the HRLP Program Manager for our business, which is really a very exciting part of my job, as I, too, sat in your chair many undisclosed years ago, and I'm just a huge fan of the program and a huge fan of it being a big part of helping you realize your HR career dreams. So I'd like to talk about Power and Water. We're in really a historic time in our business, and I'm excited to talk about what we do and where we're going and how that correlates to really, really exciting HR careers. So really, why Power and Water? I think before you understand our business, you really have to understand the industry demand. So today there are 1.5 billion people in the world that don't have reliable access to electricity. And that market will grow over 55% in the next 15 years. So if you think about the opportunity, the power and grid products really represent a $17 trillion investment over the next 20 years. So huge demand in the market, huge opportunity to make a big difference in our global community. And, you know, our purpose in the Power and Water business for our employees, for our customers, is we power the people who power the planet. And that couldn't be more true when you look at the opportunity in the market. So we're very excited about rising to that occasion. Today, we have 6 P&Ls that make up the Power and Water business. So one of the exciting parts of our business is its great diversity. We have almost 40,000 people around the globe in over 125 countries, and we generate about $30 billion in revenue. So as I mentioned, the diversity, we do everything from gas, steam generators and turbines to servicing those products. We have a wind business, a renewable energy business, a distributed power business, and a water and nuclear business, again, to meet the demands of the people around the globe. So what's exciting about that is you definitely won't be bored. If you think about, you know, one large power and water structure, one common culture, one big business, but then within the business, these 6 P&Ls that drive various needs around the world. It's really exciting as you look at HRLP opportunities, but also longer-term career opportunities. Outside of what's very exciting that's going on in our business today, really tomorrow is what creates, I think, and generates the most excitement with our customers, with our employees, and with our shareholders. As many of you likely know, in 2014, GE announced that it would purchase parts of the Alstom company, which is a French-based energy company. Alstom has 210 years of combined experience in the energy sector, and they really represent an additional 50% increase to our installed base today. So if you think about what we do and all the P&Ls I just described, and then you bring our Alstom partners into that opportunity, it's really exciting and daunting all at once. And while there were renewables and grid components in the deal, power and water component really is the largest. So this is the largest acquisition in our company's history. As I mentioned, the majority will become part of the power and water business and will bring in another 30,000 to 40,000 people around the globe. So if you think about what I tell my team is, if you went to school to become an HR professional, there is no more exciting time to be a part of the power and water team. You think about the challenges globally for our business, for our employees, for our organizations, for our culture. There's just not a more exciting time to join the power and water team. So we're thrilled to bring the Alstom deal to a close, and we're thrilled that this is a big part of our future. So speaking of HRLPs and careers, something I'm also really proud of is over the last 2 years we have tripled our HRLP program. One of the things we pride ourselves in power and water, and I'm sure all the other businesses do as well, we really look at what are the big significant business needs, not only today, but also in the future, and how can we ensure that we give our HRLPs assignments and experiences that drive those key outcomes for our business and our customers. So today we have 8 full-time HRLPs who are on program in 5 different locations. And then we also have multiple global HRLPs who at any given time are doing rotations for the power and water business. In the past year, we've had rotations in Vietnam as a site HR manager. We've had multiple rotations in Europe. And certainly today we have people working all hands on deck on the Alstom integration team. What I love is our HRLPs really bring in a range of different experiences, different levels of experience, and varied backgrounds. One of the things that when I grew up on the HRLP that was important to me is that my business understood my specific development needs and things that I was interested in to help drive my learning and development, and then aligned that development with what I mentioned earlier, which are key business needs. And that's really, in my humble opinion, the secret sauce to optimizing your experience on the HRLP. We understand what your passion is, what your interests are, and what your specific needs are, and then we align that every time you rotate with what are the key business imperatives and priorities, and how can we stretch you to optimize your development. So, for example, today's rotations, we have employee resource managers who have over sites that have over 200 people and multiple functions, commercial, engineering, manufacturing, services. We also have a site HRM up in Bangor, Maine, who has a large manufacturing facility. I am very blessed to have an HRLP on the organization and talent development team, and you will hear from Andrea Morone later to talk to you about her exciting experience on HRLP. And then you always get opportunities to get domain expertise in union relations, compensation. Today we're experience a lot of challenges around our strategic workforce planning strategy. So we have HRLPs who are working on global commercial strategies, looking at what capabilities we might need to meet our new customer base and their demands. So I have HRLPs working on what that strategic workforce plan looks like for the commercial function in our business. So really exciting opportunities that, again, hopefully are stretching the team to realize both your goals on HRLP as well as beyond. The other thing I'll say is we take pride in our internship program as well. So this past summer we hosted 3 interns. And similarly, yet on a smaller scale, since interns only have a few months with us, we look for what the big business needs are and how we can craft meaty projects to really add value to the business, add value to the HRLP interns' personal development, get exposure to senior leaders, and then really make an impact in a short period of time. So our internship program is a significant feeder to our broader HR function. So as I get off the stage and hand it over to oil and gas with Harry and Alicia, I will say that, as I mentioned, we are at a historic time in the power and water business. And if you're looking for a phenomenal HRLP experience as well as beyond, this is a time to join our business. We're really excited about the work that our function is doing. We're transforming our industry. We're transforming our culture. We're transforming our employees. And I really appreciate you giving me an opportunity to talk about our exciting business. So I will hand it over to Harry and Alicia to talk about oil and gas.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Hey, guys. Thanks for joining us on this call. I'm here with Alicia. We're going to talk both a little bit about the oil and gas business, and which is a pretty cool business, by the way, to be in. And you'll discover more in the next couple of minutes. Some things have already been said, so we're not going to repeat too much about the excitement about working in GE and being on the GE HR team, but let me give you a little bit of perspective on what is this oil and gas business in GE all about. Well, I can tell you, it is a very young business. Since I joined in 2008, I came from another GE business prior. So in 2008, keep in mind, we had about 8,000 people. And 2008, 8,000. Today, we are around 40,000 people. So think of what happened in that time frame through organic growth, but just doing more business, selling more stuff, to, doing all kinds of M&A activity. And so it's been a string of acquisitions, been a string of hiring a lot of people. We hired at a rate of about 8,000 people a year in the last couple of years. And then, you've seen the oil and gas price, the gas price, the oil price come down to a lower level. And, yeah, of course, that's something we cannot influence. But, what we can influence is, the way we work and the way we are organized and how we look at our cost structure and work closer with our customers. So that's what's going on right now. Just to give you a feel, we work from what we call full stream as a company, from exploration to production, and then all the way to downstream for the ones that are a little familiar with the oil and gas business. And what we do is we basically do 3 things. We sell equipment, so we sell you cool tools, high-tech stuff, turbo compressors, things like that. We sell you services, and then we have digital solutions around that. So, for instance, we put like Aviation will do a really good job at this as well. We put a whole bunch of nice monitors and little sensors in your equipment, and that thing sits maybe 2,000 or 3,000 meters deep on the ocean floor. It's hard to kind of pick it up and take a look what's going on, and these sensors tell you what's going on, give you the data, do the data analytics, and the R&D that comes with it. So it is a pretty high-tech business, from the equipment, which is very complex. It is kind of a one-off production every time we make it, to the services under tough conditions. These machines normally don't sit in the city center of Paris or downtown London. They happen to sit in like ocean floors. They stand in deserts. They stand in environments that you and I normally don't go to and visit for fun. So if you look at all that stuff, and where we do that, you see us in places like Angola, Nigeria. You see a whole bunch of folks in Indonesia. In London, we have a headquarters. We're in Tanzania, etc. So we're in about 100 countries around the world. And those are typically, emerging markets that are rich, in stuff like gas opportunities, oil and gas opportunities. Could be oil sands, whatever have you. So there's a lot of scope and geography to cover. To do that, we have 8 really present regions, from China, Southeast Asia, ANZ, Russia, Sub-Saharan Africa, Latin America, the US, North America, and Europe. And that's one axis to approach it. The other axis, we work it through 5 product companies. So those are the teams that make stuff, right? They make the equipment, they give the services, they create these digital solutions. And that's through what we call the subsea and drilling business. So these folks go, deep on the under the ocean and on the ocean floor, and do that in a very environmental, safe, and prudent way. The turbo machinery people, basically, that is a jet engine on a pipeline. That's what they do. Big compressors. Then you have a downstream team. We have a measurement and controls team, and a surface team. So a surface team could do something like, one of your colleagues and you decide, to buy a little oil lot somewhere in the North Sea. And you guys are really curious, do we find oil, yes or no? Well, what you need is a wellhead and a couple of drills. You go to the surface store and you buy yourself some equipment, or you rent it. It's even better. It's less expensive for you. It's better for us. And then, you get going. So you start to drill a hole, you find oil, and then from there you start to buy compressors and manifolds and things like that. So that's how you have to take a look at that business. Given the situation in the market, given the geodynamics that we have to deal with, our HR team deals in a very innovative way with all kinds of challenges and opportunities, from scarcity of talent in different places to too much talent in other places to plants that we open up in all kinds of locations around the world, and service shops that we keep running as well. So very exciting. And if you look at the assignments that we scope from there, and I'm going to ask Alicia to talk a little bit more about that. The assignments basically flow from our headquarters in London, Houston, Boston, Florence, and then Aberdeen, and then the countries around the world. And Alicia, I want to ask you to say a little more about that.
Happy to, thanks. So as Harry mentioned, we have had an extraordinary amount of growth over the last 20 years, most of which has been inorganic. And so we've had a lot of acquisitions, which make for a really unique and challenging environment to build an HR career in supporting those and continued integration that we have. So we currently have 6 HRLPs on program in the U.S. across 4 different locations. Types of roles that we have client support roles. So we have HRLPs supporting upwards of 300, 400 employees in different environments, such as manufacturing and services. We have plants that are unionized. We have plants that are non-unionized. We've had HRLPs involved in contract negotiations. We have specialist roles in comp and ben, for example, organization and talent development. Most of our U.S. HRLPs have an international assignment. So we currently have a U.S. HRLP over in London in our headquarters working on our new performance development process, succession planning, really cool stuff with regards to org and talent development. And we have HR business partner type of roles with HRLPs supporting product companies and supporting functions. With regards to internships, we have a breadth of experience. Similar as Mary mentioned, we look for the highest priorities that are happening within the business. We look at what the talent have done coming in, and we make sure that we align the interns to the highest priorities in the business and give them a great experience over the 12 or so weeks that they're with us. And that is also our biggest feeder into the full-time program as well. So that's a little bit about the assignments in oil and gas. Super exciting business. This is a super exciting time to be in the business, and we hope that you want to learn more about it and chat with us more. So with that, I'll pass the mic over to Sue Yin to share some information about GE Transportation.
Okay. Thanks, Alicia. So my name is Sue Yin Copley. First of all, I'd like to share with you, you can't make a bad choice. Obviously, we're sharing a lot of information here, but it's a great company, and the reality is many of the leaders on this call have worked across several different businesses, and we've worked together in many cases. And that is actually the great thing about HR. It's a very transferable skill that you can take from business to business. So we hope that you learn a lot during this call, and certainly ask questions afterwards and while you're on campus. So what I would tell you about transportation, we say we're small but mighty. So unlike oil and gas, we're an older business. We've been around for 100 years. We are smaller, but with that comes a lot of visibility. So it doesn't matter what role you're in. There's a ton of visibility to our senior leadership team, including our CEO and senior HRM, and our HRLPs absolutely report out to the senior leadership team. Our purpose is to set potential in motion. So it's from trains to help them go faster. We sell equipment. We manufacture and sell locomotives. And we also have a suite of software solutions both on the train and off the train to help fuel efficiency, speed, and all of that. We also have a mining business, and we offer solutions as well as we build equipment that go deep into the earth. We have a business that sells our engines directly into marine applications, drill applications, and stationary applications. And then we have a business that offers software solutions from, again, in the train to out of the train, and we sell the suite of solutions, and we call it Rail Connect 360. We are headquartered, and actually one more thing, in terms of potential in motion, it's from our equipment, but it also applies to our people. So we're very much focused on how do we release the potential in our talent. And most recently, our CEO, Russell Stokes, asked a group of younger employees, if you will, to come together and provide some recommendations to our business in terms of what does contemporary leadership look like? How do we help our leaders be better, stronger, so ultimately, our people are happier and we can release the potential in the team? So we are living those recommendations now and helping them get deep into the organization. We're headquartered in Chicago, and we have service locations in over 65 locations around the world. In terms of assignments, you're going to hear a lot of similarities. Our assignments span wherever our biggest needs are, whether it's in a plant working with a union or non-union facility, generalist roles supporting different functions or P&Ls or businesses, more of a specialist role like strategic workforce planning, compensation, or honestly, whatever is most critical in the business. And in terms of internships, because of the nature of the internship, we focus on what are big, meaty projects that you can own during the duration of the 10 to 12 weeks so that you can learn, interact, network during your time in the business. So with that, I'm going to pass it on to Megan in GE Lighting.
Thank you, Cillian. I really liked what you said about transportation, small but mighty. I have to say the same thing about lighting. We fit that description. Hi, everyone. I'm Megan Westman. I'm the Organization and Talent Development Leader for GE Lighting, and I'm very happy to speak to you about the lighting business this evening. I thought I would start and be helpful to spend some time talking about the transformation of our industry and the business so you can just better understand what we do and the opportunities that HRLPs have within this business to make a deep and lasting impact. In the next 5 years, we're going to see traditional lighting products, the light bulbs that are likely in your home today, continue to decline. Incandescents and traditional light sources will be replaced with LEDs, which are surging in adoption. The costs are coming down, you'll see that on the shelf, while technology enhancements are driving greater energy savings. And we do continue to innovate here. But by 2020, more than 50% of the residential sockets will be LED. So what's coming next as we all look to innovate? Lighting, because it's all around us, is very powerful existing real estate. And we're leveraging that real estate to drive meaningful outcomes for our customers. Intelligent lighting, that's lighting paired with software and big data, will truly drive a whole new era of outcomes. And we call it lighting as a service. And we're drawing on GE's deep domain expertise in machines and in industry, as well as our scale and security to build out those industrial internet applications. I have to say it, this is not your grandmother's lighting company. And I thought I'd give a little more context and share a few ways that we're impacting cities to make them smarter. Populations in cities around the world are growing exponentially. In the next decade, nearly 60% of the world's population will live in urban areas, and adopting greater intelligence is imperative to managing through this growth. Greater information can improve the economic and the environmental health of a growing city. So as we embark on this urban boom, cities already face their fair share of challenges. If you think about physical and fiscal infrastructures, They have operational challenges and transportation hurdles. And so mayors and city managers are understanding this challenge, and they're exploring digital technology to solve for them. And the global intelligent city market will be valued at over $1.5 trillion in 2020. And each city is going to be unique in its build-out to solve for their unique challenges. So some questions to be thinking about as you think about the lighting business. How many times have you circled the block looking for a parking space before a dinner reservation or rushing to class? How much time could you have saved if the roadway fixtures just above your head were scanning the streets for you? And what if they told you or even mapped for you through your phone the closest available spot? Or what about traffic? What if the street lighting through real-time data could map you a better route home? In addition to improving quality of life, that very real potential will save money too. As you look at traffic congestion costs, the U.S. alone is $100 billion a year. And we just think of those as the starting points. That's the jump off when it comes to possibilities driven through lighting. We're entering a world where street lighting will be able to arm first responders with real-time view of an area before they even arrive on a scene, or warn of weather events from hurricanes to floods before they even happen. We do see our intelligent city solutions tackling areas such as mobility and transportation, public safety, security, energy, environmental issues and weather, maintenance, operations. The possibilities are truly endless, and it's a way to be part of something that's truly impacting the world. And I want to say we're also embarking on a whole new era of intelligent buildings, and we see the retail industry as a prominent use case for intelligent lighting. If you think about the path to purchase, so you're a shopper, and when I say shoppers, I include myself in that. We want more. We want more convenience. We want more savings. We want more selection. And to feel as if the whole shopping experience is catered to you and to you alone. But we're all more informed. We all have smartphones. We know what we're looking for before we even enter a store. And we want added information while we're there. Through lighting technology, retailers have the ability to pinpoint your location and use mobile apps to personalize the in-store experience. So I'm walking in the cereal aisle, and the lighting fixture pings my iPhone for a coupon on Cheerios. Or next item on my list is orange juice, and I'm looking for it. The lighting fixture can help get me there in the store. It's truly a new beginning. It's a whole new world of possibilities and a whole new GE lighting. And I can tell you that I am incredibly proud to be part of it every day. And a little bit on HR. GE is a business founded on innovation, and we're innovating every day. That includes our product offerings. I talked a little bit about how we support our customers, how we go to market, and how we shape the culture of the business. So the HR team is leading the charge on our cultural transformation. It's a journey to create an entrepreneurial work environment, high-impact teams, an organizational structure that will enable this new lighting as a service business to grow and thrive. The lighting business is developing real time. We're becoming a contemporary, collaborative, and adaptable and flat organization, and we are always looking for diverse thoughts and people that are not only ready to accept change, but they want to embrace it and pull others along with them. Similar to a couple of the other folks on this call, I have the program management for the Global HR program in addition to my ONTD responsibilities. And while I personally joined GE mid-career, I've been able to work hand in hand with many of our HRLPs on organizational design, strategic workforce planning, diversity initiatives, talent acquisition, cultural development, just amazing, amazing work. And our HRLPs are provided with a good, healthy balance of those big stretch assignments and business critical projects. But we also build in coaching and support from our assignment leaders and from the broader HR leadership team. Want to make sure that you do see a great, well-rounded experience here, as you will see with many of the businesses. Our center of gravity is in Cleveland, Ohio, but we also have HRLPs on assignment today in Kentucky and on global assignment in Budapest, Hungary. Our HRLPs have the opportunity to take assignments within any area of HR, and we also strive to build in individual preferences along with those critical business needs. Those could be in organization and talent development, be in manufacturing, functional partnerships such as marketing or technology functions, or even HR operations if you wanted. I have to say, at Lighting, you will see the impact of your efforts. We are a shorter cycle business, and as a result, you see the change that you put in place take hold. Just talking about one of our current HRLPs, Gabby. Gabby is just currently finishing up a rotation on Project Velocity, and during this assignment, she has been helping to infuse 75 new outcome sales talents into the organization globally. And these folks will transform the lighting as a service business that I talked about earlier. She was involved in the sales role creation, talent ID, and the development of a 90-day new hire integration program to leverage all of the components that we bring to the table and get these new folks on board and to win their hearts and minds. She has just done an outstanding job and is ready to go into her next assignment. And just this week I was talking to one of the leaders who has been working with her, and they were just incredibly sorry to see her go on to her next assignment, just proud of the work that has been accomplished, but knowing that the team was stronger because she was there, and she's left her mark, and so they're sorry to see her go. I know that I'm out of time. I need to hand it over to Aviation, but I did want to leave you with this. We as GE, we value your insights. We want your creative ideas. Every GE business wants you. These are all outstanding opportunities. And if you're interested, would love to give you the true opportunity to leave your thumbprint on the lighting organization. And I am happy to hand it over to Matt and Jen to talk about aviation.
Great. Thanks, Megan. And good evening, everyone. My name is Matt Scagnelli. I'm the Senior HR Leader for our Services Division within GE Aviation. And I think the best way for me to describe the aviation business is to start with our purpose statement, which is we invent the future of flight, we lift people up, and we bring them home safely. And I just want you all to take 1 second and in your heads count to 2. 1, 2. That's important because every 2 seconds an aircraft somewhere around the world takes off with our technology on it. So that means that during this call, 300,000 people around the world are depending on our engines. What a huge responsibility we have to the world and to the individuals that are moving every single day around the world. Aviation is a $24 billion division of GE, which represents about 16% of the total revenue of the company. And the easiest way to think about our business is by our major business segments or P&Ls. Our commercial engines division is really responsible for managing all of the products and services in the commercial airline space. So think Delta, United, Qantas, Emirates, etc. And with those customers, we have over 37,000 engines in service with them today. That number in the next few years, because of the significant investment we've made in technology, is going to grow to over 50,000. So with that comes a complete redesign of how we structure the front end of our business, where a number of our HRLPs and HR professionals are currently engaged in working with the business on that. Our military segment provides products to militaries around the world. 1/3 of all global military aircraft are powered by us. In the U.S., 2/3 of U.S. fighters are powered by GE engines, and 2/3 of U.S. military helicopters are powered by GE engines. So if any of you have been to an air show and have seen the Blue Angels fly, those are our engines. If any of you have seen videos of aircraft taking off of aircraft carriers, there's a high likelihood that those are our engines as well. Our business and general aviation segment focuses on turboprops and business jets. We, through our products, provide about 25 million flight hours on those aircrafts and move 166 million passengers annually on those different airframes. Our integrated systems division is made up of segments that provide mechanical systems on aircraft, electric power on aircraft, and various components that bring the aircraft together. And then finally, our avionics division is investing in navigation systems, display systems, and computing systems. So think the brains of the aircraft, the cockpit controls, are all done by our aviation or our avionics division. Each year, it takes over 18 million parts to build our engines. So the diversity of our supply chain is massive. We have over 85 locations around the world that work together to build and produce both our military and commercial engines for our key customers. And within our BGA, our Business and General Aviation and Avionics division, over 147 million parts to build those systems every single year for our customers. And all of that is based on the phenomenal technology that this business continually invests in. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of a sense of the aviation business. And now I'm going to turn it over to Jen Maslar and let her talk a little bit about the exciting HR opportunities that are in the business to help drive it forward.
Great, thanks, Matt. So yes, this is Jen Maslar. I'm the Senior Organization and Talent Development Leader for Aviation. I am an HRLP grad, and I'm also an HRLP Program Manager grad. And one of my fun facts is that I have attended 13 seminars. So if you really love HRLP, you could just keep going to seminar forever. So I love this program, obviously, and I love every opportunity I get to give back to it. And if you think aviation rotations, which I'll talk about, what we do here, like every business does, is to look at the pre-HRLP experience that you bring with you and customize those rotations based on the experiences that you want and need to grow. We currently, this past summer, had 8 interns, and right now we have 13 HRLPs in program, just to give you a sense of the size of the aviation program. And I took a little approach of talking to you about our rotations. I surveyed a few of our HRLPs to give you some real-time insights on the aviation HRLP experience. So I asked them, 1, what's the coolest experience you've had in your current rotation, and 2, what skills are you developing? So one rotation I want to highlight is a supply chain site rotation in Durham, North Carolina. And this is Annie Finn, and she says she was able to spend an entire day, this is coolest experience, on the floor taking part in engine assembly with a team of technicians. Durham's unique teaming culture creates an open and inclusive environment that encourages support staff participation in all areas of work. This experience provided me invaluable perspective and helped me build stronger relationships with the technicians. I should note that Annie actually came to us from GE Appliances, which we are actually selling to Electrolux. So just a good side note to know that as things change in GE, we still look out for you. Secondly, experiences and skills that she's been able to build, and mind you, she's only been a month and a half in this particular rotation with us, are investigations. She's done coaching. She's done talent assessment, worked on benefits, strategic workforce planning, building culture, and also on compensation and benefits. And she actually notes, has it only been a month and a half? The second rotation that I wanted to highlight, and I'll only highlight 2, is an OD rotation. So Brian McFarlane is here working for myself and Sally Waters, who runs our HRLP program here in Cincinnati. And the coolest thing he got to do was to go do a benchmarking trip with Power and Water. So he went there with Sally and Becca, one of our other HRLP alums that works on my team, over to Schenectady and discussed their approach to the HR service model. So GE is looking at a new way to structure HR, and Power and Water is one of the originators of that. And he says, even though our businesses are different in industries, we often face similar challenges, and it was a great opportunity during my first 2 months with GE to see how we can learn from each other. And in terms of experiences and skills that he's developing, he says he's worked on 2 big change initiatives and led more all-HR calls than I thought I would in my career. He's absolutely developed some specific skills expected, including building a detailed communication strategy for a major change, delivering presentations to senior leaders, delivering training sessions, and interpreting implications of business strategy for HR goals, and he's also benchmarked external companies and leveraged those learnings. So those are the 2 rotations. And then I also asked them, okay, so why do you love working at Aviation? And so I'm just going to share a few quotes with you, and then I'll hand it off. So this one is from Annie Finn again. She says she loves working in the aviation business because she's surrounded by people who are incredibly passionate about the product we create and dedicated to work that we do. I do agree that people are pretty passionate about aviation products. The next is Luigi Palmieri. So he is one of our HRLPs from Italy that's actually here in aviation, actually working for Bill Bussa in our commercial engine operations, supports Matt too. So he says, I describe my experience with GE Aviation as unique. I had the opportunity to work in 3 different countries, be part of a $4.3 billion acquisition, and that was with Matt and Matt's last job, lead a supply chain site of over 500 employees, and a global commercial organization. I feel personally and professionally richer. I'm grateful to be a part of the aviation family. And then we have Tim Cooney, who says that he's been able to contribute to the human capital strategy for the global restructuring of the finance function. He's participated in local union negotiations, and he's added to company proposals and developed a 5-year workforce plan with the large manufacturing facility with 2,600 employees. Kyle Plath, who is in Grand Rapids, Michigan, in our Systems and Digital Engineering organization, says he's just simply had incredibly meaningful and uniquely challenging assignments. He's been in 3 different parts of businesses in 2 years, and he's always been challenged, developed, and feels prepared to be an HR leader in GE. And finally, Rachel Weiss her final part of her quote is she's joining the HRLP team is the best decision she could have made. So there you have it, straight from our HRLPs. And with that, I'll hand it over to Deb Brovich to tell you about the exciting things happening at GE Digital.
Thank you, Jen. I appreciate it. Hi, everyone. I am Deb Brovich, and I'm here with my peer, Scott Gordon, and we are so excited to tell you about GE Digital. So what you may not know is the formation of GE Digital was announced by the chairman this past Monday. So we are truly hot off the presses. So let me go back a bit and give you a little bit of a history here. Scott and I are both with GE Software, which is located in San Ramon, California. San Ramon is on the fringe of Silicon Valley in the East Bay of San Francisco. GE Software was literally a PowerPoint vision in mid-2011, and we now have 1,200 employees in the building. The Software Center has every function and every GE and industrial business represented on site. And during this time frame, we truly have incubated creating a software company. We have incubated blending your more typical software culture to a more hardware-based GE culture. We have had to establish industry-level software capabilities, and we have worked to create a software brand for the company, reaching both to future employees and the industry. So with the formation of GE Digital, we're bringing together all things digital in the company. We're starting with a core organization of about 3,700 employees in over 50 countries. GE Digital, what it does is it brings together GE's corporate information technology organization, our software commercial organization, our intelligent platforms, and our GE software businesses together. And in time, we'll also integrate with the digital communities within the GE businesses that you're hearing from today. So what this is going to allow us to do is combine our horizontal and vertical capabilities in a way that's never been done before. It'll bring the best of the industrial internet and outcomes to our customers. So I'm not sure if any of you have seen the recent GE commercials featuring Owen. So in the commercials, Owen is a software developer recently hired by GE. But his friends and family only know GE as a hardcore big machine company. Well, Owen is our story, right? We are a big iron company in which GE Digital will lead the transformation to also being a leading top 10 software company. So as exciting as this is from a business perspective, it's an incredible opportunity to do groundbreaking HR work. So Scott, maybe you could elaborate on our San Ramon journey and the role HR will have with GE Digital.
For sure. Yeah, in San Ramon, we built a software company really from the ground up, and in many ways it's felt like a startup. The site grew from 0 to 1,000 in 3 years. The HR team has contributed to the build of the overall business model. We've designed flat, flexible organizations to support this rapid growth. And we've built an employer brand that allows us to compete for talent with all the top Bay Area tech companies. We had to put a heavy focus on our employer brand because in software, you're exceptionally dependent on the quality of your workforce. About 80% of a software company's costs are actually in payroll costs. A good software developer can learn new programming languages quickly. They can find innovative solutions to very complex problems. They can write clean code, and in some cases you can find engineers that are called 10Xers, where they can literally code 10 times faster than the average coder. So high quality developers are critical to getting a product to market first. So when we arrived in the Bay Area, we needed to convince developers from Google, eBay, Uber, Jive, Expedia, and other top tech companies to come work for GE. We also needed to build an authentic and differentiated experience so our employees would stay. And we were successful. We're competing with those top tech companies for talent now, and we're actually retaining our employees at a higher rate than they are. The cool HR work is by no means complete, though. The thing about working in the digital space is that the software ecosystem moves at the speed of light, so we'll always be evolving, and GE Digital will always feel like a startup. We'll need our HRLPs to help to continue to build out our business model, build out those organizations, and continue to iterate on our employer brand and employee experience. So GE Digital will offer great rotations outside of San Ramon too. The top tech companies are really showing up in all cities around the world, and GE Digital is competing for talent around the world too. So I joined GE HRLP about 8 years ago after spending 3 years at a video game company called Electronic Arts. So I've always been interested in software, and I've always been super interested in the industrial space too. And I enjoyed my time in the GE industrial businesses. But what GE Digital allows me is to marry both the software and the industrial. GE Digital also gives me the chance to experience the best of both worlds by having a really nimble software company within GE. And I know that we can really offer some cool rotations in HRLP, and I'm certain there's enough business-critical HR work to ensure you get very meaty roles and can truly deliver an impact. So I appreciate your time, and I'm looking forward to working with many of you in the future. I'll hand over to Rod Roberts in Energy Management now.
Great, thanks, guys. So Rod Roberts, and I'm the leader for Organization and Talent Development for our Energy Management business. One of the things I love about GE, and I think you've heard this from all the presentations from the various GE businesses, is that GE is such a large, broad company that we touch a lot of lives. I worked in healthcare prior to energy management and love the fact that we influence so many lives, have a great impact on society. Energy management is no different. This is a business that touches every life, every single day, and also every GE business. So we're an infrastructure business. This is a business that we have three primary business segments. Our grid business, which is makes equipment that the utility and power distribution companies use to take power or electricity from the time it's generated to the time that the consumer gets to use it. So when I say that this business touches every one of us, every time we turn on a light switch, every time we plug that phone in to charge, we are the business that gets it from the time that the power is generated to you. And that's an exciting prospect, especially when you think about how global our business is and the opportunity that we have to touch so many lives. Another part of our business is power conversion. It's headquartered in France, and this business primarily serves large industrial customers in taking and transforming energy basically into movement. So big motors that feed the marine and oil and gas sectors, as well as our industrial solutions business, which makes high voltage, low voltage transformers and conversion equipment. It's a business, as you heard earlier with our power and water business, that is going through a tremendous transformation. So we are also part of this large acquisition that GE is making called Alstom. Today we have about 30,000 employees and are about a $7 billion business. Once we complete the Alstom integration, we'll become about a $13 billion business with over 50,000 employees. We'll have over 100 manufacturing sites and operate in more than 100 countries. We have an HR team today of about 250 HR professionals that's growing to become about 400 HR professionals. So just truly transforming our business and the nature of the landscape of our business. Our business is headquartered in Atlanta, Georgia. Some of our main sites in the U.S. where we have a pretty large presence are here in Atlanta, Plainville, Connecticut. We have a large site in Cary, North Carolina, Charlottesville, Virginia. We have a lot of sites and manufacturing sites across the states, which means that when our HRLPs do assignments and rotations, there's quite a bit of variability in terms of location and where they may operate. Our HRLP program it's not a large program, so we only have a few HRLPs, usually anywhere between 3 to 4 HRLPs at a time in our business. What that means then, from a program and an assignment perspective, is it means that we are able to be very selective and also really customize the type of experience that folks get when they're doing assignments in our business. With our large manufacturing footprint, HRLPs will often have a chance to do an assignment such as an HR business partner type of a role in a plant, which is just fantastic experience and really fundamental to developing great HR skills for future and bigger assignments and opportunities. Usually folks will do some kind of a specialist role, as has been mentioned by some of the other businesses, whether that's in comp and ben, or it could be in organization and talent development. It could be in workforce planning areas. And with the size of our program and the way that we operate, we often are able to give folks an opportunity to do or work in some kind of a global capacity, which is just great and a great learning experience for everyone. With the incredible transformation that our business is going through with the Alstom acquisition, of course, there's a tremendous amount of opportunity to be working in integration. So that's an exciting prospect, and we have folks that are working in integration today. So it's a business that's going through a tremendous amount of change. It's transforming. All of our P&Ls are transforming through a number of different ways, whether it's acquisition or big investments, and it's an exciting time to be a part of a business that's going through a big transformation. So with that, I'm going to pass it on to my colleagues in healthcare, Jen and Lauren.
Thanks, Rod. My name is Lauren Roberts. I am the Senior HR Leader for the MR Business Unit within GE Healthcare, and I'm also the HRLP Program Manager for the healthcare business. GE Healthcare is really structured into product P&Ls, of which the MR business is one of them, functions and regions. We produce products and services in diagnostic imaging, such as MR, but also X-ray, CT, etc., and then smaller devices like EKG machines or monitors that measure people's heart rates in hospitals, healthcare IT solutions like electronic record solutions, pharmaceuticals and life sciences like contrast agents. And then regionally, we have regional teams that are primarily around sales, and we have those in 7 main regions. And then from the functional perspective, we have the large operating functions like our supply chain and services that operate separately and support all of the product P&L. Our headquarters is in Pollard Woods, UK. We have significant sites that are design sites in Bouc, France, Beijing, China, Hino, Japan, Bangalore, India. And then in the U.S., the domestic headquarters is in Milwaukee. And we have other sites in Boston, Chicago, Seattle, Salt Lake, and then other smaller sites literally all over the world. It's a very, very global business, as you could probably guess from all the sites I just mentioned, but it's also very customer-driven and focused. If I really had to say what's the essence of healthcare, it's that the employees come to work because of what we do. You know, our equipment, our machines, our devices, our services are with people at what I would say are some of the most pivotal times of their lives. When somebody has a baby, when they're having a difficult medical procedure, during the end of life. It's our machines, whether it's that ultrasound machine looking at a baby for the first time, whether it's an interventional machine or a surgery machine that actually enables someone to get a heart catheterization, or if it's someone who's being monitored in hospice through one of our monitors. Those are the types of times in your life that makes people really want to come to work with a purpose, and that's really what drives GE Healthcare and all the employees that support our business. So I'm going to turn it over to Jen Fanensteel, who is going to walk you through some of the recent intern and full-time rotations that we've had to give you a flavor of GE Healthcare.
Thanks, Lauren. So I am Jen Fanensteel, and I am the HRM for our U.S. HR team. So while you work closely with Lauren as the assignment leader, if you're with or as Lauren as the HRLP leader, your assignment leader, I'm really part of your support network if you came into GE Healthcare. As an HRLP intern at as all the businesses have talked about tonight, you're going to get a great meaty summer assignment based on business need, and we're going to scope something that's really attainable for that 12-week assignment period. We're going to stretch you. We're going to make you a little bit uncomfortable, but really support you with your time with us during the summer. And you're going to have that immediate network also with our current HRLP team. And also one thing I think we do really well here is give you access to our senior HR leaders. They really take an interest in our HRLPs during the summer and our local HR community. I think you really embrace the HRLPs and HRLP interns as they come into our organization. A little bit about the assignments. We've had our interns working anywhere from with our business development team, creating a culture guidebook for mergers and acquisitions. We had an intern last summer with our advanced manufacturing team develop and roll out a global competency model. We also had an intern working with our U.S. services organization on how to best classify our field service engineers and really using a lot of data, a lot of analytics, qualitative interviews to really come up with a great analysis there and product. Also last summer we had the opportunity to give some of our interns actual HR client experience too, in addition to their project work, which I think is something that worked out very well for them to get a flavor of what it's like to be an HR manager at GE Healthcare, and also for us because they helped us cover some vacations, some leaves, some things like that. So it was a really good win-win for us. So these 12 weeks with us during the summer will really make an impact to the organization. And then majority of our interns are in Milwaukee, which is our U.S. headquarters, but depending on business need, we've also had successful summer projects outside of Milwaukee. Beyond internships, full-time U.S. HRLPs have the ability to rotate across our GE Healthcare businesses and locations. While Milwaukee's our main hub, we have a big presence in Boston with our life sciences and healthcare IT business. There are also plant opportunities across the U.S. Utah, we have our surgery and recently acquired cell culture business within our life sciences organization. Seattle is definitely a growing market for our IT space, as is Barrington, Illinois, which is in the Chicagoland area. And about 85 to 90% of our rotations are based in the U.S., but we do have opportunities for those international rotations as they come up, a few recently being South Africa, Hong Kong, Mexico, and Istanbul. So some great opportunities there. So I hope we've helped pique your interest on all of GE and especially GE Healthcare tonight. And really, we do look forward to seeing you guys on campus. So I know I am supposed to turn it over to Andy and Andrea to talk about some of their actual HRLP work.
Great. Thanks so much, and thanks for everyone being on the call tonight. So Andy Mayer, currently on my third and final rotation with GE Oil and Gas, and it's just been a great journey and a great learning experience thus far, and I just continue to learn each and every day. Just a little bit about me. I had about 3.5 years experience prior to joining the HRLP program. A lot of that was in financial services, working with at GE Capital, actually, People's Bank, and then at MetLife, and then came on over to GE in 2014. And I could talk a little bit about the assignments, but I just want to give you a true understanding why I chose GE, because I'm in not too long ago I was in your shoes thinking about what companies would I want to be a part of and where would I want to intern and then get a full-time job. And I was thinking about what organizations really would I want to be a part of, and kind of 3 reasons that stuck out to me as far as why I chose GE. One of those was being that the work that we do is real work. It's not a 2-year-long internship. These assignments that we have would be filled by someone else as a full-time employee. So, I mean, my first rotation, I supported 250 engineers at a site in Houston. My second one, I had the fortunate opportunity to take on a global assignment in London at our headquarters. And that's a common thread now that I see more and more with more businesses having global assignments, because we are in so many countries in the world. And I would say oil and gas right now, probably about 70 to 75% of our revenue comes outside of the United States. So it's important to have our HRLPs on the ground where our customers are. And then currently in my third rotation, I'm the HR manager for the second shift of 175 hourly employees. So these are real jobs that would be filled by someone that was an HRLP. So we have the authority to make decisions on the ground right away. The second piece would be the community. Just the sense of camaraderie that you have and an instant network of 90 HRLPs is astonishing. And actually 90 people want to help you and help you grow. So these are your peers that are in the same boat as you, and it's just a great family to be a part of. And then thirdly, I would say just the community of learners that GE has. I just have never been in a room or a meeting or with an organization of people that just want to learn as much as they can. They want to do things better, and they really challenge one another to be the best that they can be. So it's just a great environment to be in, and I'm fortunate to have the opportunity to call myself a GE HRLP, and I look forward to graduating actually next week at my final HRLP seminar in Crotonville. It's just a great experience, and it's been a great journey. So I thank you for the opportunity tonight to talk to you, and I will pass it over to Andrea.
Great. Well, thanks, Andy. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody. My name is Andrea Morone. I'm from GE Power and Water, dialing in today from our headquarters in Schenectady, New York. And like Andy, I'm also finishing my third rotation on HRLP. So interestingly enough, I'm a little bit of a unique story. I've been with GE for a bit over 9 years now. I actually spent the first 5 years of my career in finance before pivoting over into a career in HR. So for any career changers on the phone, I'm a #1 advocate of making the change. I started my HR career actually GE Capital as well, and moved up to Power and Water just short of about 2 years ago to join HRLP. So, I'm going to take a little bit of a different approach than Andy took and talk to you a little bit about what my rotations have been like, because I know being in your shoes, listening to this call actually about 2 years ago, I was curious to hear what some of the actual work that people were doing was like. So for my first rotation, I was working as an employee resource manager and also working kind of wearing two hats in union relations for 300 hourly represented employees and about 100 salaried employees. So this was definitely a change of path from being at GE Capital, about a 180-degree shift. It was unique, though, in the fact that the hourly workforce that I was supporting was actually deployed from their homes and distributed all over the world as part of our on-site repair business. So think about the craft labor that are actually out at our customer sites working on our turbines. So if I think about this job, it's kind of two pieces. The first one is the union relations piece of it. So I had a chance to negotiate in local contract agreements. I heard grievances. I worked really closely with our union presidents on various items and ultimately helped our headquarters team prepare for our 2015 contract negotiation that just happened this past summer. The other piece of it was really around the employee resource manager perspective. So in this capacity, I built competency models, I performed strategic skills gaps assessments, and created talent pipelines for our top hourly leaders to get to what we would call a work team leader. So that was the first rotation. In the second rotation, I was an HR business partner for our supply chain organization. So again, I think about this job and it's kind of two different pieces as well. The first piece being a core business partner, as a partner to our leaders for a series of different functions. So I supported the executive and senior level executive leaders for our supply chain functions, which were quality, environmental health and safety, and our sourcing operations teams, as well as helping to build build out a team down in Greenville with one of our leaders called the Advanced Manufacturing Works team, which was a really exciting initiative. Also, from just an integration perspective, Mary mentioned earlier that we are in the process of closing the largest integration we've ever done with Alstom. And so I worked as our quality and EHS HR integration leader, working and partnering very closely with both GE leaders and also Alstom leaders, which was kind of fascinating to see since we were some of the first people that they were interacting with. And then also, if I think about the team and the HR business partner role, I had a chance to work with 3 employee resource managers that were helping me to support the teams and 2 other HR operations team members, so kind of a big scope. The other piece of this job was really around big strategic programs. So I helped to revamp our operations management leadership program, which is called OMLP. I co-led a hiring project to help build and roll out our GE corporate leadership programs as part of our upcoming Alstom integration. And then finally, I co-led a significant strategic workforce planning project focused on our sourcing organization that was ultimately pitched to Jeff Emmett, who's our chairman, and really used as a foundation for a company-wide sourcing capability model, which was an outstanding experience to have. Finally, in this third rotation, I'm lucky enough to be working for Mary in organization and talent development. It is certainly unlike any other rotation that I've had before. The role is predominantly big, meaty projects with a tremendous amount of exposure at all different levels of the organization, but really with our senior HR leader and also some to our CEO. So in some of the projects I'm working on, just to give a little flavor, I'm co-leading our GE opinion survey for power and water. I'm leading the rollout of our new approach to performance development, which some of you may have heard about in the news, but it's really a big cultural shift for our company and really for power and water specifically. Again, doing some more strategic workforce planning around our global executive footprint and working with Mary to roll out our annual people review, which is ultimately going to be presented to Susan Peters, who's the head of our HR business, and Jeff Emmett, who's our chairman. So I guess before I kind of wrap up, I'd leave you with this, and Andy touched on it a little bit, but I want to make sure just to reiterate it because it is so important. The network that you build, not just with various leaders across the business, but also with your peers on program, is something that has truly stood out to me with this program. And the fact that the different businesses will tailor experiences to the experience that you're bringing from whatever your background is. So you couple that with some really meaty rotational work, and overall it's just been a really great couple of years to which I feel very lucky to be a part of. So with that, I think, Vicki, I'll pass it back to you, and maybe we can jump into some Q&A.
Hey, thanks so much, Andrea. Wonderful. Thanks, everybody, and I hope this is, so far has been really helpful. I am looking down to the list of frequently asked questions, and I feel like we have a pretty good handle of most of them. One of the questions that hasn't been addressed now, and I will probably go to my predecessor from many turns ago, Jen Maslow from Aviation. And the question is about what does life at GE look like after HRLP? What is a typical post-HRLP career path? And if you can maybe help us to name a few examples and paint a picture for the folks, that would be great. Jen.
Great. Thanks, Vicki. So I would start by answering that question and say that no two paths are really the same, because you probably heard Vicki say at the very outset that we really personalize the experience for you, both on program and off program. So once again, we really look at your skills and development and what you need, and also take into account what passion or interest you might have, because when you do something you're passionate about, you do great work. So a few examples that I would highlight for you, especially in a business like aviation and many of our other industrial businesses, people often want to go deeper in supply chain once they graduate. And so Matt Scagnelli, who presented with me on the call this evening, his off program was actually in Lynn, Massachusetts. So this is a unionized manufacturing site with 800 employees, both hourly and salaried. Luigi, who I highlighted earlier, is here in the U.S. on rotation at the moment, has just gone back to Brindisi, Italy, which I believe is very close to a beach, in a manufacturing and service shop standalone with 700 people. We've got Corey Wilcox in West Jefferson, and they've just did a grand reopening. They've retooled the shop and repurposed it, and they're adding 100 people, so cool experience he's getting there. And then Terry Delgado, who is our McAllen, Texas site HR leader. One other kind of rotation we have would be supporting field service. So Tyler Kinney, who's actually on rotation in Italy right now, is coming back to the U.S. to do our on-wing support roll-off program. And then one different kind of rotation I wanted to highlight, or off program, I should say, is a bubble assignment. So Emily Marshall is actually on an off-program bubble. So we have a role in Austin, Texas that wasn't going to last for a full 18 months, 2 years. but it was an experience for her to support an acquired business that really includes our flight efficiency engineering team. So that was something that she wanted to develop skills with, get exposed to, and pretty soon she will be or has already moved to her permanent off-program role. So those are just a few kinds of roles that you can experience off-program, and as you can see, all a little different, and I'm sure if we asked everybody else on the call for other examples, you'll find similarities and differences and nuances to each. So that's a little bit about off-program.
Hey, thanks, Jen. And I'm continuing to look down to the list, and I think we touch on the culture, the philosophy of leadership development. We touch on, the international exposure that an HRLP will receive throughout the program, in the context of the international rotation, the global project, and the network that you get to build upon. I guess I would maybe, and the other question that's frequently asked, it's really about, hey, I've spoke to a number of companies which has a version of HR leadership programs. What is unique about GE's HRLPs? And I will probably close the call with my perspective. And you heard about the folks on the call, and they all touch on their ideas about why HRLP is unique and special to them. And I think my own story, the way I look at it is, I think first of all, it's a company of GE, right? It's important to me. It's important to me to be able to get behind the purpose of a company, really beyond the shareholder values. And I think our technology innovation, the global impact that we make, every business talk about the fact that we touch lives around the globe, to really make the world works better. It's going to make me sound a little nerdy, but the thought of it puts a smile on my face and keep me motivated, and I think that's important to me. I think the function of HR, that's important to me. There are very few companies that really value the function of HR the way GE does, and I know you know that already. And I think that's something important, it's an important uniqueness of us. The other piece that I would talk about is really the culture and the network, right? The people that you get to work with. As big as our company seems, I have constantly been amazed, really in the friendship that I'll be able to foster, in the connection that I saw happening every day. And I think I hope, the way we organize the call help you translate and get the feeling of it, though, that many of us on the call have been working with, but working together for a number of years. There were all sorts of connection and interaction throughout our journeys, and that relationship does happen. And I think it's amazing to be able to feel connected and being able to make friends in a massive organizations, something that wasn't expected. And I think really our focus around, the growth and development. We have the scale to be able to build a global cohort at the same time of the commitment to be able to produce and deliver on the personalized approach that Jen mentioned just now, to really consider you as an individual. So with that, I know I have a minute to go, and I hope this webinar is helpful to get you started, in this point of your career to try in finding a fit. Please come visit us online or on campus. In closing the call, I want to really thank our speakers, our senior HR leaders, our business program managers, and our HRLPs joining us tonight. And thank you all very much, each and every one of you, being able to join us for the webinar. I hope you all have a great evening. Thank you so much for the time.
This concludes today's conference call. You may now disconnect.